Hello, Memorial football fans. I'm Charles Strayer, and welcome on in to week 6 of our Sideline Snapshot series. And this week we have our homecoming edition. So after the recap of the North game, we're of course going to go into that matchup, which is going to be against the Menomonie Mustangs. Let's get started. So in taking a look at what really went wrong last Friday, you really need to look no further than that box score. North outscored us 21-0 in that opening quarter, and that was a lead that we would fail to surmount in the remaining 3 quarters. However, we did put up 2 touchdowns to their 1 in the remaining, 3 quarters of the game, but unfortunately, that wasn't enough. That one of those touchdowns in the first quarter that they scored was off of a botched punt play, and you could really feel the sense of, the dominoes were kind of coming crashing down. It looked like it was almost going to be a blowout in their favor. But the truth of the matter is, despite the 2-score deficit in the final, on the final scoreboard, we really played an excellent game. Most notably, Shamar Simmons keeping drives alive all day long, taking heavy hits, lunging for extra yardage. He was a man possessed, really. He had some excellent play against a tight North defensive line, and just building upon what is, his best game yet against Stevens Point. And then he carried that over into Marshfield, and then now doing a very good job offensively, keeping our run game well and truly alive. Aaron Gunlock also recovered nicely from that first quarter. As you know, he threw an interception on the first play of our opening drive on offense, but recovered nicely. He had 182 passing yards in the remainder of that game, 2 touchdowns, no more interceptions, and he was 15 for 22, which secured him a passer rating of 105.1, which is his highest on the season. So also, you got to mention Brodee Neff, who was just this close to a 3-touchdown performance. Unfortunately, he was called out of bounds on 2 potential highlight reel plays in the end zone, but he was able to secure a touchdown for the Abes, and all around, you can see that he's definitely developed as one of Gunlock's top targets in Ferguson's absence. So hopefully we're going to carry that over into this homecoming week. Really, offensively, we did an excellent job. But another thing to note, other than, the first quarter clearly not going our way, was the run game was a continual problem. 301 yards between Shipman, Frisson, and Bean. And all of those guys had at least 15 carries, and all of them in total averaged 5.9 yards a carry, which is really detrimental to the success of our defense, because it means McCracken only attempted 7 passes in the entire game because he didn't have to go to the air. He didn't have to take that risk. Where we want quarterbacks to go is right to our secondary. That's where we are very strong defensively. But if they can just pound it on the ground, then unfortunately they're not really going to feel the pressure to take that risk. So that's definitely something that we're going to have to remedy going forward. All in all, I would venture to say it was our most polished game yet this season. However, we fell short, and that leads us to an 0-5 standing going into our homecoming game against the Menomonie Mustangs. The Menomonie Mustangs, as I'm sure most of us here are familiar with, are definitely a team that has historically done very well against us, especially as of late. It's been decades since we've beaten the Mustangs, so what better time to try and take them out than at our own homecoming game? So the Mustangs this season are 4-1. They dueled Eau Claire North in their opener, and that was a very close game. Their secondary definitely experiencing some growing pains in that first week, but they were able to come out on top 22-19. Since then, they've only fallen to world beaters Rice Lake, and have pulled off some rather impressive wins. If you want to attribute that to anybody, you're probably going to want to start with Brady Johnson. The quarterback for the Mustangs is as prolific as he is dangerous in the art of aerial attack. He's got 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions on the season, passer rating above 108 on the season. and he's already close to 1,000 yards to the air. So this is a team that, unlike North, will not be afraid to torch us in the air should they get the opportunity. So it's going to be a real test for our secondary, but it's also going to provide an opportunity as they might de-emphasize their run game. However, like we've been saying these past couple weeks, if the run game continues to work, the inherent risk of passing often will deter people from going to the air, as it's simply logical. So we're going to have to be limiting the carries on the ground. Obviously, they have 2 rushers over 50 yards a game, so they will have multiple facets there in terms of their rushing attack. The standout for the receptions this season has been Isaac Ellison, who has 19 receptions, 6 touchdowns, and currently leads the Big Rivers Conference with 406 receiving yards. So Menomonie may not be what they quite were last season. We lost them 0-36. However, their returning talent in Brodee Johnson obviously will be a threat, and their aerial attack is unlike anything we've really seen thus far. We've seen a lot of traditional run-heavy offenses. We've seen a lot of, misdirection. We've seen a lot of design runs for the quarterback. But this team is not going to be afraid to torch us in the air should they get the opportunity. So that's definitely something to look out for. In the Big Rivers Conference, which, we already had our experience with Hudson and Chippewa Falls, they're a very contentious, very, very good conference this season. And Menomonie is holding their own. They're currently sitting at a 4-1 record. And as a winless team, it definitely looks like statistically the odds are against us. However, what better time, like I said, to snap the scoring streak than this? We've been playing better and better progressively, getting into a rhythm, finding our identity without Ferguson on the field to rely upon. And I think we're going to see some stars emerge here. Again, Neff really building off a great game. Josh Lorcher with a great go route, a great catch, stayed on his feet, and nearly legged it out for the touchdown, setting up an Abes score. We've seen some good stuff on offense, and obviously defensively, we've got Luke Johnson blowing things up in the backfield, Zach Higdon doing excellent as always, and all of those guys who really don't get enough recognition. It's just really a matter of, can everything come together and can we pull off this big upset? High school football is privy to a lot of surprises, and I think that this team is scrappy and they're hungry for their first win. So it's going to be an excellent homecoming game. We saw a great student section against North, and I definitely anticipate huge crowds after our homecoming parade to cheer on our boys and help us secure that first win. So we'll be watching from the sidelines, and as always, go Abes.
Hi everybody, I'm Aidan Rickert, Eagle Eyes, Other Guy. If you're interested in more MHS sports content, be sure to check out our TikTok, Instagram, and check out some of the other videos on our YouTube channel. And while you're at it, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more. Go Abes!